China's economy. Jamie Metzl is senior fellow at the Atlantic Council, and he joins me now. Jamie, it's great to see you. You and I have talked many times about China's effort to sort of shift this enormous economy away from such a reliance on being an export engine and more on growing that domestic market. It seems like they're very prudent to be thinking about the welfare of their people. We've seen what happens to leaders when they forget about that, the quality of life issue. How are they doing in that transition?
They're not doing well. What I should say is they're doing quite well on the side of rhetoric. So China has great plans for transitioning from manufacturing to innovation and consumption. Everybody agrees, or most everybody agrees, that that's what they need to do. But they've had a much more difficult time delivering on those promises. And that's why this National People's Congress, and more importantly later in the year, the Communist Party Conference, are so important, because Xi Jinping has in many ways been focusing his first five-year presidential term on consolidating political power. And the question is, will China then be able to shift its economy in this anticipated second term to bring about those kinds of reforms? But the jury is very much still out.
And what's standing in the way of that? You know, we've seen this crackdown on corruption, on local government officials. It seems like it's more than just jobs and training and industry. It seems like there are an awful lot of people who were living well off the old way, and that they're trying to sort of reform that.
Yeah, so certainly one piece of this is that there are vested interests, which are people connected to the governing party in one way or another, who have benefited from the old system. And shifting from an old system to a new system requires stepping on people's toes. But there's a much deeper issue, and that is, although China has some very, very able leaders and very good plans, there's a fundamental contradiction between opening up, developing the kind of market economy that China needs at this level of it, at this stage of its economic development, on the one hand, which requires markets, it requires predictability, it requires things like the rule of law, and at the same time maintaining the centrality of the Communist Party, which cuts against those things. It cuts against the type of open expression and exchange and innovative spirit and free media and all of those kinds of things that at least we traditionally believe that a modern economy will require. And so until China figures out what's the right balance between economic opening and political opening, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Jamie, and why we say that they are at such an important crossroads. Unfortunately, we have to leave it there, but Jamie, we always appreciate your insight. Thank you so much. Jamie Metzl for us.